Within my own love I solemnly trust, with no feelings of fear, no longing for lust. Within my freedom to love I solemnly stand, for all of our people in all of God's land. Within our own love we solemnly trust, with no feelings of fear, no longing for lust. Within our freedom to love we solemnly stand, for all of our people in all of God's land. Hello. Thank you for learning and respecting the English language, allowing me to share my peaceful insights with a broader spectrum of the planet. I love you all, individually and collectively, as creatures of nature, as humans, and brothers and sisters. Insects. A lot of people are afraid of the Junebug. Something to keep in mind is, when the Junebug gets in your hair, it doesn't want to be in your hair. And if you freak the fuck out, well, that Junebug is also freaking the fuck out. If you can remain calm, you will be able to shake your fear of the Junebug. Junebugs live their whole lives underground. They can't actually move around without digging unless they have pre-made tunnels to crawl around in. The reason they come out of the dirt in June specifically is because they've reproduced, the new family is ready, and it's just time to come up to the surface because it's time to die. They don't know what to expect when they get to the surface. And when they come to the surface, it's very correlatable to a human going to space. They can fly, and they're floating around. They live their whole lives underground, and they're floating around, bumping into windows, and possibly getting caught in your hair. But they're very much so up here to die. They don't really know what's going on. They're discovering the world up here. It's well in my understanding that nothing on the planet eats the Junebug, and the Junebug doesn't eat other life. So I'm fairly confident, although I may be wrong about it, I'm fairly confident that the Junebug is the only creature on the planet that doesn't really add to the food chain. The Junebug is not going to bite you or harm you in any way. And the fear of the Junebug, very much so, goes back to the human that is afraid of the Junebug getting stuck in their hair for one reason or another. And if you have a lot of hair, you may very well feel justified in feeling afraid of it. And I'm not saying that you are not going to have a different perception than me. However, with the information that I've provided you about the Junebug, I think you will be able to understand that the fear of the Junebug really isn't as big of a deal as a lot of people feel it is. So the Junebug is not going to hurt you. However, when you get that Junebug out of your hair, if you have opportunity to, you very well may kill it in the moment. And it doesn't really matter because, I just finished telling you it came up to die. But that is the process. And worms are so important to our healthy soil and the food chain. so many different creatures of nature will eat the worm and get a lot of nutrition for their species. However, worms basically poop as quick as they eat. It just basically passes through, but they very much so act as fertilizer for the dirt, very correlatable to the Brita filter on your sink. The worms will come up to the surface for water, but they can really maintain a lot of water when they go back down. Where the Junebug only comes up to die, that's not the case for the worm. It comes up and down, moves around, fertilizes our soil, and makes our food healthier by making our soil healthier, making our children healthier. It's the process of life. So, our worms are very important. Spiders have a much broader family base. And some are dangerous and some are not. It's very common for humans to be afraid of spiders they have no need to be afraid of, and probably even kill them because they're afraid of them. Something to know about spiders is a lot of the other bugs that you don't want in your home that could be more pesty and noisy, well, if you just leave those spiders alone, like if you have the odd one, you leave that spider alone, well, it's going to eat the more pesty bugs that you don't want in your house. Correlatable to how having a cat will keep the rodents out. If they do come around, they're lunch. And you, as the human, don't really got to deal with that. You don't have to kill that spider. And very similarly to the Junebug, the spider is very unlikely to just attack you. They don't generally do that, especially in most of the rural areas. And ultimately, you can live how you want. I'm not afraid of spiders. I could very calmly stand next to a tub of spiders, and it doesn't mean I want to get in the tub, but it wouldn't bother me to see them or to be there with them. I trust them. And time is relative. So, for example, a fly. Well, a fly, an average housefly, is not going to have more than 48 hours of a lifespan. It's not even likely to reach that long in reference to human time. But a fly is not a human. It doesn't count like a human. It doesn't think or operate or live or perceive absolutely anything like a human, because it's a fly. And the fly has every right to be here. We need flies. We need food for our spiders and other bugs. The flies very much so add to the food chain. So something to consider is the fly is likely only going to get to see one moon its entire life. Now, as humans, we couldn't imagine what that would be like, because when we're young enough to actually only see one moon and pass away or cross over, well, we never even really perceived the moon anyway. And we wouldn't have any memory of it because we only had one moon. But since those same quantity of human hours equals a lifespan to a fly, well, that one moon is significant to the fly, almost like a very likely midway or midlife indication. And it does have an impact on the life experience of the fly. Now, this is something I feel very vulnerable to express. Thank you for your maturity and accepting this perspective. This very much so is my way of living. This is not me making shit up for anybody to fucking believe me. And that is a very frustrating thing to me. I am not an actor. I am a real human being that's actually done this health work. So I do understand that a lot of these perceptions are very different from what you're used to hearing. However, if you can remain open, I really appreciate that. I'm going to express something to you about a personal perception I have developed due to the longevity of my nature-based consumption and my trust in nature. To me, there is a very big difference between killing an insect unintentionally and killing it intentionally. If there is a spider in the room and you are afraid of it, and you can just let it be, knowing that it is not actually going to attack you or hurt you in any way, you don't have to kill that spider. But if you fear that spider and you feel the need to kill it, well, then you may very well intentionally seek it out and kill it. If there is a fly in the room that's buzzing around and it's getting on your nerves, the fly has every right to be there, and it very well may be lunch for that spider that you didn't kill. But you may get annoyed by that housefly and roll up a set of flyers and chase it around the house until you kill it. If that housefly dies because the spider ate it, that's nature, and because you didn't kill the spider, you didn't have to kill the fly. But if you did kill the spider and the fly came in the room, well, you have to kill the fly too, because in your perception, you're afraid of the spider, you're afraid of the fly, you're afraid of the Junebug, and you just killed him. I won't, I haven't, I don't. The only bugs that I really feel the need to remove from my house is wasps, bees that really get in. But I very humanely have always caught them in a glass, put a lid over it, and let them out. From my perception, if you are walking down the street and see an ant and stop and look at it and intentionally stomp on it, it's not the same thing as if you're walking down the street and you step on that same ant and kill it and don't even know. So what it goes back to, from my perception, is your respect for nature in that way grants you karmatic life karma based on your acceptance of all the life around you. It's like a good life karma to just let them be and not be afraid of them. When I'm outside, I don't want to be in a swarm of mosquitoes any more than you do. And I'll swat at them. That's a swarm of mosquitoes. Not a single fly, not a single spider, not a single Junebug. And it's not that I'm afraid of them. I'm still alive. I'm still a human. Just swat at them. Just like a cow swatting its tail at a fly that's trying to feed on it. It's just nature. But I'm not seeking them out to kill them. And I don't kill insects or anything. If I see worms that came up for water on the pavement, generally try to save them and get them in the dirt. And all these things, from my perception, once again, offer good life karma. I think that is possibly mentally expansive, but grounded and logical in its development of a mindset. But I heard my 15-minute timer go off 2 minutes ago, yet again. So, es hora de meditar. It's time to meditate. Tengo que ir. I gotta go. Paz, amor y positividad a todos. Muchas gracias a Dios. Peace and love to all. Thank God again. Adios, amigos.